Hello, Mr. Galloway. My name's Abdullah Salam. I'm from Lebanon. I agree with a lot of what you said about the importance of recognizing the Palestinian narrative. And of course, I think if there's to be a just peace between Palestinians and Israelis, Arabs and Israelis, the Palestinian narrative will need to be recognized. But I don't agree with a lot of what you said else about the Arab world. Specifically, I heard you often saying what we cannot see or should see about the Arab world as students here at Oxford. I know the Arab world quite well, so I think I see it quite well. But what I think you should see and don't see is the Arab Spring. And that I found really surprising. In fact, everything you said could have been said in 2009. You had no room for the massive pro-democracy revolutions in Tunisia, Egypt, or Syria. What remained important was the Iraq War, some people who indeed were assaulted in Bahrain, but 35,000 people in Syria had no room in your speech. No room. You had room for the Palestinian Nakba in 1948, but not for the ongoing slaughter by the Syrian regime. And the problem, I think, isn't just the fact that you have no sympathy for the Arab pro-democracy movement, which is the most popular movement sweeping across the Arab world. The problem is that it doesn't fit in your narrative, and I'm going to give you two examples. One, in Syria, it's not American flags that are being burnt, nor British flags, nor French flags. This might be inconvenient for you, but it's Russian and Chinese flags, because they veto a resolution allowing for an intervention in Syria. And a second example, you talk about bombs being dropped on Arab countries. Yes, I in Lebanon was in a city where Israel dropped bombs on, so I've experienced it firsthand, and I know the suffering. But let's talk about an example where Western forces have dropped bombs, in Libya most recently. And there, I defy you to find, during the Western intervention in Libya, one single, and I'm talking rhetorically because you tend to like to speak rhetorically, but one single demonstration in the Arab world from Morocco to Yemen demonstrating against the Western intervention in Libya. You will not find one.
Well, you're simply... You're simply wrong, as a matter of fact, on your last point. There were hundreds, maybe thousands, of demonstrations against the American and British bombardment of Libya. And so I invite you to return to that point again in the quiet of the cloister. And as one rhetorician to another, let me tell you that it's seldom wise to say there's not one single of anything, especially when dealing with an Arab world of 350 million people. But you have obviously been deeply involved in your studies, too busy to know my role in the Arab Spring. You don't know, for example, that I am quite a significant international personality in Tunisia. You don't know that my friend for 20 years, Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi, whose driver I was, chauffeur I was, is now the leader of the ruling party in Tunisia. You don't apparently know that I played a role in Sheikh Rashid's election campaign, the only free and fair election that has ever been held in Tunisia. You don't appear to be aware of anything I've ever written or broadcast on the revolution in Tunisia. There is no person in Britain was more involved in the Tunisian revolution, which began the Arab Spring, than me. That too is a matter of fact, of which you are, oddly I may say, Abdullah, apparently oblivious. You're apparently oblivious of my role in Egypt. You're oblivious to the fact that I was deported by Mubarak and declared persona non grata and began what turned out to be a mercifully short period of open agitation calling for the overthrow of Mubarak, and was then able to return to Cairo in triumph upon the overthrow of the dictator Mubarak. You appear not to know that President Morsi in Egypt is a close friend of mine, and he defeated in the election an even closer friend of mine, Dr. Abdel Fattah, the leader of one of the trends of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, whilst President Morsi is the representative of the prevailing trend in the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. So me, don't recognize the Arab Spring, the Arab revolutions, but it's the first time I mentioned it because the title of my address was The World at War. I am in support of Arab revolution from Marrakesh to Bahrain. There you go. I want to see the downfall of every ruler, with the exception of my friend Sheikh Rashid Ghannouchi, who has been elected as the leader in Tunisia, from Marrakesh to Bahrain. Are you? Are you? Are you in favor of the downfall of all these dictatorships? In which case, you and I are comrades. In which case, you and I are comrades, not adversaries. But what I will not support, I'm coming to that. What I will not support is a British, American, French invasion of Syria, your former country. Maybe the rest don't know. Well, you shake your head, you see, betraying, if I may say so, a lack of historical grasp. There was never anything called Lebanon. Lebanon never existed until Britain and France invented it. Lebanon and Syria were one country, Bilad al-Sham, until Sykes and Picot, in my building in Westminster, invented the country you now call yours, and which flag you presumably wave enthusiastically. I will not support the Western invasion of Syria any more than I supported the Israeli invasion of Lebanon. I'm in favor of revolution in Syria. It goes without saying. I just adumbrated from Marrakesh to Bahrain. That includes Syria. I'm in favor of revolution in Syria. But the revolution in Syria must be a Syrian revolution, not an American, French, and Israeli invasion and occupation of your country. If you want to know what that would look like, just look across the border in Iraq. I will not wish upon Syria what has already happened to Iraq. Sorry if we have to part company on that.